Welcome to the Coach Barnabas podcast. It's time to take a few minutes and leave behind the stuff that drains us and recharge our batteries with some encouragement and insight. Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Hi, and welcome back to the latest episode of Coach Barnabas. I'm Corey, and you know what? We're all Team Barnabas. How about that? Just a place to come and get some encouragement, get some infusion of positivity, and hopefully wrapping you in courage, wrapping you in just an enthusiasm to really tap into your potential. That's what this episode is about, is potential. I was reminded this week, for no particular reason, let me give you a little background. My wife is a teacher, and for over 20 years, she taught grade school, most recently third and fourth grade, a combined class. And this year, she ventured out a little differently, and she's actually teaching in a preschool, kids who are 3-4 years old. And so anytime I have seen her in that environment, I go into her class or stop by her school for some reason, I'm always my heart is just bursts with excitement and with pride for her, because I see these little kids who follow her around everywhere she goes. They love her, they gravitate toward her, but I see the love and the energy and the amount of time she puts into loving the children and entertaining them, especially at this age. That's a big part of it, is keeping their attention, keeping them from doing things you don't necessarily want them to do. But even when she had third and fourth graders, she had a way of teaching them that was fun and engaging, sometimes even very humorous. She's got a great sense of humor. And this would help the kids absorb what it was she was teaching them. So to me, she's just a fantastic teacher. I wish I could have had somebody like her, although I had good teachers when I was a kid. But she's just as phenomenal. And I was reminded of just even a few years ago, I was walking down the street to our post office, and a school bus rolled by. And I've seen a million school buses. I've gotten stuck behind them at times while in traffic, in a hurry to get somewhere. But this time I saw this school bus, and I saw these little faces looking out the window, and my heart just stopped. I mean, metaphorically speaking. And I was just struck with the awesomeness of the potential, the lives that were on that bus. And not that there was anything special about that bus, but that bus was symbolic of the hundreds of thousands of buses all over the country carrying our young, our youth. And in that moment, though, came thoughts of, on that bus are people with potential, with futures. And somewhere, on the bus, we think of the positive things. We think, oh, they're going to graduate, they're going to play sports, they're going to, some are going to go onto music things, do music things or dance, do all these fun, exciting things. But also, they're going to go through heartache. They're going to go through difficulties. They're going to go through pain. Some, it's hard to speak the words because we don't like to think this way, but some may not live to see their high school graduations. Who knows? But on that bus was a wide range of life experiences that were yet to be experienced, yet to come to fruition. And just my heart in that moment, like in an instant, took all of that in. It was almost overwhelming. I was just impacted so deeply in that split second of watching a bus go by, as routinely as it happens every day. Buses rolling by my house. But this particular bus just stopped me cold in my tracks. And I felt like God just gave me that split second, that moment where I just kind of absorbed not knowing the details of any of these kids. I don't know any of them. I don't know who they are, what their families are like. Don't know their names, any of that stuff. But I knew that on that, in school buses all over the place, the stories are basically the same. They're yet to be told. We don't know what they're going to be. But the law of averages indicates that there are going to be some who are going to they're all going to experience highs and lows. That's just life. But some more highs than lows, and some more lows than highs. And it's hard to think about. And you watch the news and you hear of some tragic story. Just the other day, we learned about a young 3-year-old who was just with mom shopping, riding along in their little shopping cart, and somebody came out of nowhere and was just stabbing people and stabbed a little boy, and he died. He was 3. And our hearts, if you're a parent or you've had anything to do with raising a child, of course, your empathy just pegs to the extreme, and your heart just breaks for them. But even, when you hear stories like this, whether or not you're a parent, it breaks our hearts. Why? Well, because here's a child of 3 who hasn't even really yet begun to live. There is all this potential, all the highs and lows that we're just talking about have yet to even be experienced. We don't know if that child is going to go on and do amazing things in the world and change the world, or, they're going to be whatever, and impact a smaller portion of the world. Okay. They're going to impact their community, or, through them is going to be a legacy that is going to be a change in the world. Who knows? And the fact is, in that case, we'll never know. And so, I got, like I said, in that split second, it was like drinking out of a fire hose of thoughts and visions and I don't know, emotion, all that stuff just hit me in this giant wave. When I say visions, I mean like picturing kids playing sports and dance recitals and, whatever, birthday parties and roller skating, whatever, just, enjoying life. And then, growing up and going off to college and meeting a special someone in their lives and experiencing love and all these things. And one day having a family of their own. It's just like in a split second, I just envisioned all of that. And it was a warming thought. It was a wonderful thought. And I just stopped and prayed over that bus, and God, protect them and be with them and reveal yourselves to them and show them your love, and help me make a difference in my community. So as they're growing up within it, it will be a safe place for them. It will be a place that honors Him. It will be a place that they can be proud of, that will protect them and nurture them. So, it was just this overwhelming moment. And I am 59 years old. I was hesitant whether or not I was going to actually disclose the specific number, but here we are. Why hide anything from you, right? 59 years old, and embarking on this new little venture of a podcast, which I told you in the first couple episodes was something that I kind of wanted to do, and I do have some background with radio and broadcasting and things like that, which I missed very much. But how in the world, do you go about that nowadays? And podcasts seem like a natural thing, but then it's like, well, what am I going to talk about? And then it just came to me, this whole Coach Barnabas concept came to me. I thought, that's my voice. That's who I am. And so tapping into that and buying a little bit of equipment or whatever to be able to do this on, this isn't the most professional setting you'll find if you go on the internet and you see people with full-blown studios and producers and engineers and sound and lighting and all this stuff, pouring tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars into their productions. It's just me. If I turned this camera around and showed you my setting, you'd laugh compared to a lot of these other things. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be that to be effective. It's the content that matters. It's not the background or any of this other fluff and accoutrements. It's none of that. It's the content. And the content that I offer you isn't me, but it's what God, I believe, just wants to speak to us and encourage us with. And so today, I really wanted to focus on the whole potential aspect, because I don't care how old you are. If, you're a child on a school bus, or you're a parent or grandparent or older brother, older sister, whatever your station in life at this point, whether you're in your first, second, or third act, the fact of the matter is there's something in you And some of you are fulfilling your calling, fulfilling your potential. And some of us have untapped potential. We haven't really tapped into it and developed it or pursuing it or practicing it in any way. And I heard this quote that I'm about to share with you several months ago, and it stuck with me. I heard it at church, and it's not a Bible verse or anything like that, but it was something that rang true to me. I don't know the spiritual condition of the person who wrote it. Their name is Miles Monroe. I'm assuming that's a gentleman. I know nothing of them, literally, but I heard this quote, and I thought it was extremely profound. I want to share it with you. It says, "The wealthiest place in the world is not the gold mines of South America or the oil fields of Iraq or Iran. They are not the diamond mines of South Africa or the banks of the world. The wealthiest place on the planet is just down the road. It's the cemetery. There lie buried companies that were never started, inventions that were never made, best-selling books that were never written, and masterpieces that were never painted. In this cemetery is buried the greatest treasure of untapped potential." How true is that? How many of you, and myself, included, have gifts or thoughts or abilities or desires to do things, and we've just pushed them away or dismissed them and thought, I can't do that, or who's got time for that, or I'm really not that good at it, or whatever. You know the answer to that. I'm just listing off some things, but maybe you have reasons that are screaming in your heart and mind right now as to why you've not tapped into things that you potentially can do to maybe, again, do something impactful in your community, in your neighborhood, in your family, in the world. And I want to encourage you to really think about it. Whatever that may be, is what's the first step, okay? Maybe you're not going to be somebody that, comes up with the next great invention or cures cancer or something like that. I don't know. It'd be awesome if you were. We could use those things. But the fact of the matter is, maybe there's something you can do in your community, something you could do in your church, something you could do in your neighborhood, whatever, that's going to make a difference, making a difference in even one person's life, that lights a little spark in them to tap into their potential and to do things. You and I, presumably, we're just average people. We're just people. We walk into the grocery store and nobody looks at us twice. But within you you have giftings. God has given you a gift. He's given you abilities to do something that either nobody else can do or nobody can do quite like you can do. And you bring that unique quality, that unique edge to who you are into maybe something that people have already done, like podcasts. Okay, there's billions of them all over the place. But maybe there's something a little different in me that makes, what I'm sharing with you to what may be, half a dozen or a dozen people across the world who are ever going to watch this or listen to it. But maybe there's something in my passion that will spark something in you, in your passion, to take a step and reach in and fulfill some potential. Don't carry it with you to the grave. Don't let it sit there untapped. Inspire somebody. Make a difference in somebody's life in some way. Tap into something you do. And again, we're filled with opportunities. I spent a year where every day in social media, I would reach out to a random person in my list of friends, and I would send them a message and say, hey, we haven't talked in decades, but I want you to know that you're on my heart today, and I'm going to pray for you. And these are people who were not necessarily Christians. They showed me no evidence of being a Christian. They don't talk about church or not sharing scriptures, and I see some of the things they do post, which leads me to believe that perhaps God's not the most important element of their lives. And without exception, I always receive back gratitude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And for 1 year, that was kind of my mission, where I would reach out to somebody new and let them know I was going to speak their name before God. And sometimes people would say, you have no idea how much I need that. So And maybe that's something I'll do again. Like I said, I did it for a year. Maybe it's time I do it again. Maybe it's something as simple as that in your life that requires no additional talent, requires no money, just requires a couple of minutes of you having the courage to reach out to somebody and let them know whether or not they've made you feel comfortable that what you're about to tell them is going to be well received. It may not. They may not reply at all. But maybe, just maybe, in doing something like that, you're going to reach them at a time where they're vulnerable, they're afraid, they're worried, they're overwhelmed. Maybe they're going through, marital issues, financial issues, health issues. Maybe their life is going really well, but they're on the brink of something that's going to go sideways. Right? The point is if God puts somebody on your heart and you take the time to pray for them, and you just let them know, I want you to know that today I'm dedicating this day and I'm just going to lift your name to my Creator. Whether or not you believe in Him, whether or not you follow Him, He's real to me. I know He's real, and I'm just going to pray for you today. It could be something as simple as that makes a difference in somebody's life. And if you do it for a year, it's 365 people. And maybe 10 of them, let's just be, what if 10 of them out of 365, what if 10 of them come back to you and say, oh my gosh, when you did that, it overwhelmed me. It showed me God's love when I needed it the most. 10. How many people have you reached in the last year who have told you that? That's something you did influence them and impacted them in such a way. I don't know. It's just an idea, throwing it out there. But, God may be birthing a whole other idea in you. Maybe what I'm saying is that little pushing point where it's like you've had something stirring in your mind, you just haven't pulled the trigger on it for one reason or another. And maybe this is the kind of thing where it's like, you know what, God, I've been thinking about this and I haven't taken that first step, and maybe this is the time. Maybe what am I waiting for? I don't want to take this idea with me to the grave, having never done it, and have it buried with me. God wants to do something in and through you to make an impact in the lives of others. So that's my word for you today. So be encouraged, be an encourager, and I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for joining the Coach Barnabas podcast. We'd greatly appreciate your support by liking and subscribing to the podcast and setting up notifications so we can let you know when new episodes are available. We'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment. Make a difference today.